can actually beat you up if you bully.
I'm in heels. I'm in a dress.
Oh,
The guys don't know what women are doing in the workplace. Women belong at home, taking care of their children.
Oh, I'm sure they were like, I wonder what color her blood is. Is it darker than ours? Is it brighter? You know?
Okay, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is So and this is Conversations with So. Today I am joined by the Ghost Lady, aka...
Hi everyone, my name is Bokang and it's so good to be back.
So friend, you got injured a few months back. Can you please set the scene? Can you tell us how you got injured and what was happening?
Okay, so basically a few months ago I was on this train that I want to live a more healthy lifestyle. Remember, I started with eating clean, you know, cutting sugar and all of that. And I thought to myself, now that I've got the food on lockdown, right? How about I start being more active? Because what do they always say? 80% is what you eat and 20% is more of like your exercise, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got the 80% good. So let me do the 20. And then I decided to sign up at the gym. The day I finally decided to go, right? I get to the gym, everything is well. They put me on that whole machine that counts your body fat and all of that. And just when the guy was like, okay, let's go sit down and let me show you some exercises. Literally, me trying to sit down on the yoga mat, it was done. Like, I could never get back up. It was this excruciating pain. All I could remember is that if I like tried to even turn my leg, it wasn't happening, right? And he was like, okay, stay a while on the floor. Let's try and exercise your leg, right? And no, it just never, we tried to get up and it never happened. All of a sudden they had to call an ambulance, and then it was just to the hospital from there. I was literally wheeled out of the gym. And that's where it all began. We got to the hospital and they did some x-rays, which was also very excruciating. Like, I was literally screaming when they were trying to turn, right? And I got the news that I tore my meniscus and basically I was going to need surgery. And what was traumatic for me is that I was in a foreign country. I do not know what a meniscus is. All I knew is that I could not turn my leg. I couldn't get up. It was so bad. They had to put on a knee brace immediately. That one that goes from the hip up until like my ankle, literally. So that's the scene. And this all happened on the 5th of June.
Oh my word. Okay, so now can you walk us through the moment of injury? What were your first thoughts at that moment?
Okay, first I thought to myself, I just twisted something. Maybe I just have to wait for a while, then I'd literally just get up. But then I'm like, I've been on the floor for a while and a lot of people are now coming in, right? It's the evening and obviously they're trying to get the whole exercise going on the circuit. And now the gym people are like, why is she not getting up, right? And now I start panicking. But before panicking, I'm like, okay, it's probably better if I go to the hospital and the doctor just finds out what's wrong with me so that I can get it fixed. I won't lie, I was a bit excited because, we work in China. I was like, finally, I'm going to get days off. I'm going to be paid and go back to work. So I'll rest, right? So it wasn't that serious for me because I think it's a pain that I felt before, but now it was too excruciating because I remember at some point in South Korea, I kind of like fell in the apartment and I couldn't get up for a while, but then I was able to get up and there was a pain for a few months where I couldn't literally squat or anything, but then it went away, so it wasn't really serious.
Okay, were there any immediate logistic challenges?
Not logistically. The only challenge at that time was the language barrier. Remember, I called you and I was like, friend, please try to explain to this guy how I'm feeling, because he doesn't know English. I do not know Chinese. I do not know how to describe exactly how I'm feeling. So I think it was just the language barrier at the time. Yeah.
Okay, and were you scared, like at any point?
I think when I got scared was after my surgery. I don't know if it's something I should explain now or we're still going to get to that.
We're going to get to that. So obviously with the language barrier, right, you had to get a translator. And do you think you were able to get whatever you need, information you needed across? Like,
I don't think I got all the information I needed at the time, especially being a patient. And I think the biggest barrier between me and my physicians was communication. And we'll go back to that as we unpack, because then you'll hear why I say communication was the biggest barrier. And I think also a bit of a hindrance to my healing. Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that you were alone, right, at the gym with the trainers. How do you think that affected or affects the situation you were in or you found yourself in?
Funny enough, when I found this gym, it's the gym that you told me about, like her, right? And when I went the first time, I was like, oh wow, they are actually nice Chinese people. They were cool people. They were excited to see a foreigner. They were excited to walk me through my health journey. I think I made a few friends, you know, because when Chinese people always see you, they're like, oh, you speak English. I've always wanted to know how to speak English. So every time they see a foreigner, I think they see an opportunity of practicing how to speak English more, right?
Yeah.
So they were quite nice. Like I said, at that time, I actually didn't feel scared. I was like, oh Lord, I'm gonna rest from work.
Okay, so I have one question, a two-part question. One is, what was confusing about the medical care you received? That's the first part. The second part was, or is, how did you handle the financial side of things?
Okay, the first side, what was confusing, I was like, why does this ambulance look so raggedy? Because I'm supposed to have medical insurance. I work for an international
How was the
school.
ambulance? Can you explain? Can you explain how the ambulance was?
It wasn't giving private health care. Like, I'm like,
What was it giving?
it was giving public hospital name. I was like, what the hell? But only to find out later, because the guys didn't have a lot of information about me. So they just literally called a public ambulance, right? And they didn't know if I had insurance. They did not have my passport. So, and they took me to the most raggedy hospital. I'm like, what are we doing here? You know, I saw the place and I'm like,
So was there, like, in that moment, were you like, I'm really gonna die?
no, funny enough, you know, we always have this notion that China has the best of almost everything and it's advanced when it comes to healthcare and all of that. So I'm like, no, I'm in the hands of Chinese people. Nothing is gonna happen to me. I think for me, having this delusion or not having the full scope or understanding what was going on, it actually protected me in terms of healing, because it's also very important, I noticed, how you respond emotionally to what is going on around you. So it actually helped a lot that I did not know the scope or the seriousness of what was happening to me. Yeah. And then the second part, you asked about medical insurance.
How you handled the financial side of things?
The financial side. Okay, so in China, what happens is that when you get to the hospital, if it's an emergency, you have to pay up front, right? Because I kept on telling them, guys, I have medical insurance. Why are you asking me for money? Just take my passport. Here's my medical insurance number, you know? Because obviously you read off the benefits before, but it doesn't really register that you think, oh, at some point I'm going to be at the hospital, you know. But I kept on saying, no, I have medical insurance. They're like, no. Oh, eventually they called my school, right? So our principal came and our academic leader came, and they're like, oh, you know, Bobo, you have to pay this amount. I'm like, what?
How much did you have to pay?
I think up front it was almost 2,000 UN, which is a lot of money in South Africa if you're not thinking you have a serious problem, and then you're looking at the hospital and it looks public. I'm like,
why am I paying this much money for this kind
of money? Exactly, you know. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, do you know the shock I got? Bobo, you know, here in China, oh, so they call me Bobo at school. Bobo, you know, here in China, you can't stay alone in the hospital. We have to call Ai to come and sleep with you. And I'm like, what's that? We have to call an auntie to come and sleep with you, you know, to help you. And also, the worst situation, now reality is kicking in. I cannot move. I cannot move out of the bed. So obviously, I'm a foreigner in China. I need somebody who's going to assist me, you know. So, and they're like, oh, the IE is like 240 UN per night. I'm like, excuse me? How am I supposed to be paying that much? Aren't they supposed to be nurses? What do nurses actually do in China? You know. And then obviously I was like, I didn't think I was going to be there for long. I was like, oh, okay, you know. So yeah, that's what happened.
So what was the job of the nurses when you were at the hospital?
So nurses basically just administer medication and they monitor your progress in terms of your BP, your heart rate, and all of that. So, and oh yeah, like I said, they administer medication.
What were there any major cultural differences in how pain treatment or patient care you feel was approached?
I think one thing about Chinese, so this is one thing I didn't mention. So I went to the public hospital, right? And then my school comes and they were like, oh, there's a parent who actually specializes in your specific kind of injury, and he is based in the best hospital in Wuhan. So it is up to you if you want to move from here so that you can be operated by the parent, then we will move you to this other hospital. So I'm there thinking to myself, yay, I'm going to a private hospital, because they're like, no, you know, the facilities are better. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. You know, I'll probably get special treatment. So I got moved to this hospital. Now, in the previous hospital I was in, it looked smaller. The facilities, were like shady. I go to the next hospital. However, the previous hospital, the bedside manner. I feel like the nurses cared, the IE cared, the doctors were gentle, they were more attentive. And then I get to the bigger hospital.
The private hospital.
The private hospital. The reality check. The nurses are angry. And I'm like, and then I call my what is she? The supervisor, right? I call Rita. I'm like, Rita, the nurses are not nice here. She's like, no, Baba, you know, this hospital, everybody wants to come here. So it's not that they're not being nice. They are very busy. They have a lot of work to do. And now the difference is that I am now at the corner by the door where everybody comes in, and there's 3 patients in the room. So what happens in China, the difference between our hospitals and this, in China they have no visiting hours, and you are there with your IE or a family member. So we can all be there, male and female, even though it's just females in they call it a ward, we call it a room, right? But somebody can be there with their husband, right? So there's no privacy. And obviously I'm a foreigner. Everybody's just like, everybody's taking pictures. They do not care what is happening with me. They just like, blink, blink, telling everybody, oh, here's a black person. hilarious though. I don't want to lie. It was hilarious. But sometimes uncomfortable.
You know how like sometimes the phone thing gets to you, like you on the bus and then someone is just like shoving their phones on your face. At that time, like I'm injured, I'm in pain, and here's this phone on my face. How did that make you feel?
Okay, one thing about me is that I don't know how to say it in English, but I think it sounds better in my language. I get happy, so it means that nothing phases me. I'm not a shy person.
Okay.
So I'm like, we're in hospital. I don't have my bra on. You don't have your bra on. We all injured. We all sick. How do you expect me to look? Like, I just look at them and I'll be like, oh, take a picture.
So
of a black person in a hospital. It does not matter.
So do you think they were taking videos and pictures of you because you were looking wretched, or because you were
I
foreign?
never look wretched. I never look wretched.
Okay.
Even, I think I look so good. Not that I'm blowing my own horn, but
Toot.
you know, yeah, I think they were just taking pictures because most of them, right, in my ward, they were actually old people, and I don't think they ever thought they'd be sleeping with a foreigner who's sick, you know. So it was very interesting to them that, oh, I'm sure they were like, I wonder what color her blood is. Is it darker than ours? Is it brighter? You know, it was like they were just so interested for my hair. So I have this thing, when I went into the hospital, I asked my colleagues to bring my bonnet. So that's the first thing. Oh, the first night I took it out, they were like, so I always have my hair natural, right? And they were like, wow, interesting. They go, the tofa, you know how they call hair tofa? And they were always amazed at how the bonnet never slips out. They were like, when we put something on their head, so obviously if something is silk, for them it's just like, you know. But then it stayed there the whole night until I took it off. So it was more of, they were intrigued. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of like treatment, when it comes to like food, the food you were eating, was it the same food that everybody else was eating, or were you getting better food or worse food than everybody else?
Culture shock, guys. Chinese hospitals, they do not provide food, right? So you have to buy your own food. And obviously now they're being judgmental. They're like, because I'm not skinny, they're like, oh, you know, you should eat more healthy. You should stop eating takeaways. I'm like, who says I'm an unhealthy person? You are judging me by my body. Girl, look at my skin. Does it say unhealthy? So they're like, you shouldn't eat takeaways, you know, don't order your McDonald's. Oh, you should eat more rice and you should eat more soup. And I'm like, your food is disgusting. One thing about me, I will tell Chinese people, your food is bland. I don't like eating noodles. I will say it, right? So there I was, oh my gosh, trying to look for healthy options on McDonald's. I'm like, okay, I'll swap my fries for corn, you know, and I won't drink the soda. And then I'll be like, I just love fruits.
Friend, you were eating McDonald's at the hospital.
Girl, imagine how much money that was.
McDonald's at the hospital, bro.
You know what? No. To be fair, I tried their noodles. I tried the soup, the porridge. They call it porridge. So we have this thing
From McDonald's?
No.
Oh.
I tried their food. So we have this thing in South Africa. We call it mealie rice. I don't know if you know it. Their mealie rice, they turn it into soup. So you know, while we still cooking it and it's still watery, that's their soup. I'm like, what am I eating? And honestly, I'm really not a fan of noodles. And one thing about Chinese spices, I might get cancelled for this. They, like, the taste lingers in your mouth. I don't know if it's the way they make their spices that is different from us. So I hate that I eat something and it's still, you know, yeah.
Okay. And how are you doing now? Like, has the injury left? Do you feel better?
Wow, what a journey it has been, right? So what I didn't mention is that when I was discharged from the operation, I went home for 2 weeks and I stayed home. And when I was supposed to go back to work, my second official day back at work, I collapsed, right? And then now, remember I said I changed hospitals. Now I found out that at that actual hospital, I was at the public side. So now that they know I have medical insurance and my school is taking me directly, actually I know. I'm like, no, call my insurance. I need to go to the international side. So now I go back to the hospital. The doctor looks at me and he's like, you have pulmonary embolism. Don't move. I'm like, what's that? He's like, it's serious. That's all you need to know. It's a matter of life and death. Also, me with my nonchalantness again, being Jululu, I'm like, whoa, this looks nice. Girl, you should have seen my room. I had a couch like this, and it's a bed, and there's a fridge. Now there's a fridge. I'm like, oh, okay. My friend can cook.
We should do this more often.
And we can bring meal preps. And I'm there. The doctors come in every morning and they shock. I'm like, morning.
Wow.
They like, what is happening with this girl? But then obviously that died out really quickly because they're like, you do actually have pulmonary embolism, right? So now I'm researching what is that. I'm like, whoa. So people do die from that, and then they find out when they do their postmortem that they had a little clot in their lungs or in their brain, and they just dropped dead. So now I'm like, yo, now they come in and they looking all weird and worried, and now my leg is like getting bigger. I'm like, God, is this the way you plan on taking me back home as a corpse? Like, is this the way I'm exiting the world? You know? Now I'm coming back to myself and it's like, okay, it's serious. I've been in hospital. A week has passed. It's now 2 weeks. My leg, things are not changing. Now the doctor realizes the communication thing. He can't get enough patient history from me now because of the communication barrier. He's just going on what he is seeing. So now they're not giving me sufficient medication because I have a fast metabolism. So I take the medication and it just goes out my body. Until they had to do these genetic blood tests and everything. And he's like, oh, you actually need above average medication, which he was shocked. So now they increase my medication. I'm now having bruises everywhere where they're injecting me because I'm having blood thinners. But now I get to see all these things in China, right? Because now I'm on medical insurance and they're like, girl, we're going to treat you with laser therapy. I'm like, what's this? They're like, oh, it's things they do to your face for your skin to look nice. But then they obviously treating my bruises. And then now I think reality kicked in for me when I saw my daughter starting to stress. And I'm like, now she's probably thinking like, I'm losing my mom. And I was like, could that be a reality? Right? So obviously the only thing I know how to turn back to is just God and prayer. And thank God for the friends that I had. They were here. Shout out to Ntabi Singh. She's like a little sister. She was with me all the time. Whenever I would break down, she'd be like, no, you're gonna be fine. You know, you're gonna live and we'll be laughing through this. Even though sometimes I'm like, girl, you might have to come and sign for my corpse. I remember this other time Yanda visited me. He's like, oh, bye, girl. Next time I see, maybe next time I come here, I'll be coming to discharge you or coming to sign for your corpse. I'm like, Yanda, you so funny, girl. Yeah, but that's, yeah, it was up and down. Some days were good, some days were bad. How am I now? I'm thankful for the experience, because for me, I got a revelation that God loved me so much that he actually left the 99 to fetch me. And the only way it was for me, I feel like when we experience challenges, it's like God trying to keep us closer to Him, right? Because if I don't need Him, if I have everything, I will think that it is all me, right? And I wouldn't even have a need to call upon Him or have a relationship with Him. So I'm doing better. I think the one thing I always prayed for, I was like, God, can I not be the same person I was before this experience? Because when I started this whole journey of being healthy, it was more of total transformation, not just physically, but mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. I was like, God, I'm starting this journey so that I can be the person you've called me to be. And I know that's going to take breaking down of me, right? So I think that's exactly what I went through and what I'm still going through.
Do you ever feel like the treatment, or like how the treatment you received would have been different had you been back home? In any way, whether worse or better?
Okay, for me, I think back home, because obviously when we come to work here, most of us come here unemployed, right? So back home, I do not have private medical cover. So I can just imagine this happening at home, me going to a public hospital. Was I even going to get a cardiologist? Right? Was I even going to get sufficient blood thinners? Because the current blood thinner I'm on, my niece as a nurse, she's like, oh, whoa, I wonder when that is going to come to South Africa, you know? So I think God places us strategically where we are because He knows what's going to happen. And with my current specific school where I was before, I actually don't think I had medical cover in the university, right? So this medical cover is actually so good, and they paid so much money. I think just close to 200,000 RMB. So you can imagine how much that is in rands.
So how long were you at the hospital for? In total?
In total, it was more than a month. So I would say about 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
And the 200,000 RMB you paid, you think was worth it and it was fair, and you would have paid the same amount if you were in South African hospital?
So I think in China, if it's more cosmetic, it's more expensive. And if it's your general surgery or even specialized, I think it's cheaper than in South Africa. Yeah. And also the 200,000 is excluding the IE. So all this time I had an auntie stay with me in hospital. I had to pay out of pocket. And even also for my food, obviously. So that's money the insurance does not cover.
Okay, so you paid a 250,000 RM, 200,000. This excludes the 250 you were paying per night.
So when I went to the private side, it was actually 280.
So this excludes the 280 for a month, for 6 weeks.
For 6 weeks. And money I have to spend on food.
On food. Wow.
So all in all, I would say for the IE, I paid over 30,000 Rand for my hospital stay. And the food, I didn't even want to calculate that because it's not money I can recover anyway. Yeah.
All right. So now, after being through what you went through, would you encourage anyone else that wants to live abroad, despite the risks like getting injured and have to deal with language barriers and the logistics and the financial side of everything?
I would still say do come, but know everything and cover yourself. Because like I was saying, in my previous school, the university, I don't think I had medical insurance like that. So make it a point to educate yourself. A friend of mine was saying he took out an extra medical insurance cover with repatriation, because he's Zulu, and he was like, if I die in China, I don't want to be buried in China, and I don't want my family to be asking for donations and all of that. So he took out medical insurance, which he says he pays almost 800 RMB extra, so that if anything happens to him, they will repatriate his body and his family won't have problems. So what I will say, because most of us are breadwinners, right, in our families, I say get yourself medical insurance, or find out what your medical insurance from your school provides. Also get yourself life insurance. Should anything happen to you, then what your family dependent on from you they will still be able to get that financial assistance, right? And just do your research in terms of when you look for a school, don't just look at the fact that how much are they paying me. The work environment is also important, because my school was really gracious and generous. Imagine being away from work. I mean, if I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, can you imagine how long I was away from school, right? More than 2 months, almost 3 months, even though I didn't get paid because they had to have the replacement teacher, but they were there for me. They came, they checked up on me. I never felt like my job was threatened and all of that. Also, it helps when you come to China and become a teacher, make sure that you build a relationship with your kids first, so that the kids go home and they tell the parents good things about you. Treat your children like they are your own children. I think that's why, for me, my parents love me so much and they supported me through everything. So my school knew that we cannot tell Bobo, we cannot give her the boot, because her parents are not going to be happy, right? And also, generally, with my work ethic, I think my school sees who I am, and they like, we will wait for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just to finalize, you got treated like you deserved. Or even better than that. I mean, apart from the cell phones, apart from, the videos
my staff, my medical staff from the international department, they were amazing. When it was time to leave, I was like, I'm leaving my family. This almost became like home, I knew their names. They even taught me how to monitor my own BP and everything. I even had those, lines that they put on you where it checks your heart and stuff. I would be changing my own things. They'll just leave things there. Oh, Baba, if you need them, here they are. I was like, what does this mean, So it was so nice that Chinese people from the international side, also I think they get paid more.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're just happy, they're just happy people. They're more open-minded. They taught me a lot about Chinese things. I remember the day just before I got discharged, I got to speak to my cardiologist, even though we were speaking via WeChat, and he was like, for a moment there, it was touch and go. And he was like, it was just so amazing that because what you went through, he's like, every day they see patients who are just morbid and depressed, right? Because they know the seriousness of their condition, and they kind of like lose hope. And he was like, it was so refreshing to see you every day when we come in. You're like, hello, prof. Yeah. And he was like, at the end of the day, in Chinese we say, with your conditions, the heavens were smiling upon us, and he was like, your attitude actually contributed to your healing, because he was like, you were positive every day, you were happy every day. Because I remember at some point, just my school principal was like, Bobo, you're gonna need heart surgery. My BP skyrocketed. The machine started going beep, 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 beep. They had to calm me down.
Okay, Bobo, please bring yourself towards yourself. Okay, final question.
Okay.
This is really a final question. You know how, like you just mentioned now, that you have your medical aid that the school offers, and then you get an extra one in case anything ever happened to you, that your body gets sent home, right? Back home we have like outsurance. So I'm having this insurance that I don't claim for 10 years. I don't claim for 20 years. And I can get something back, right? But now I'm in a foreign land. This is not my country. And I'm paying 800 extra on top of whatever is getting deducted from my salary, right? And I'm here for 20 years. 20 years later, I go back home and I never got to use that money. Do I get anything back?
That's a question I wouldn't know how to answer, because with our medical insurance, our school's medical insurance, we don't pay a lot. I think they pay like 80% of the cover, and it's quite good. Shout out to Cigna medical aid. You know, it covers repatriation. So if anybody is interested, I think you can make a call to Cigna. It covers repatriation when your child or your spouse or your parents get sick at home. They actually pay for you to go and see them. I think it's 30,000 RMB. They pay for your flight costs, right? In terms of what you were asking about earlier on, do they replace your salary? I think that's a totally different cover from medical insurance. They do not do that. And also there are certain things I think that your school chooses to cover. For example, there are no maternity benefits. There's no dental, cosmetic, only emergency. But I think they've covered the basics, right? And in terms of the people who get private cover on the side, I think that's the information they get, whether or not you can get reimbursement. Because I think for me, they only take like less than 200 RMB per month, which is like 150 RMB for... it says that the total cover of my medical costs in hospital, it's 10 million RMB per year. Which is quite good, right? So that 200 RMB didn't really scratch the surface. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've reached the end of our video. Benjamin, you know that this... okay, anyway. Hey, we've reached the end of our video. Thank you very much, as always, Bubba.
It is such a pleasure. I'll see you in the next episode.